Hi, everybody. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, let me open up the chat so I try not to miss anything. Great to see you here, Christopher. How are you? Roz, Lisa, how's it going? We've got a few. I logged in a minute or two early, so we've got a second. If you have any questions you want to make sure that get asked and answered, put them in the chat now. If I was just going to say, if you make sure you get a pen and paper, I think there's going to be some writer downers here. There usually are. Ross says, I love the topic today. Yeah, I was a little excited about it too. I've been thinking a lot about this. Lisa says, aloha, glad to be here. Aloha, Lisa, so glad you're here. Hi, Megan, how are you? I just, this is so hard. This is one of the reasons why I try not to log in early, even though I know it's easier for you all if I'm logged in early, because then you got a time to like gather in. But then like I want to start talking right away. I want to start teaching right away. But let's wait till everyone's here. We'll be polite. No snacks until everyone's here. Yeah, great to see you too, Megan. I love it that we gather like this once a week. I think it's really a testament to your commitment to yourself and your growth, when you say like, no, this is time for me, this nourishes me, this excites me, this gets me going. Even Veronica's like, yeah, I could use a shot in the arm. That's what this is. Unless you're afraid of needles, in which case it's something completely different. Good, another minute or two till we start. I don't know about y'all, but it is hot in Connecticut today. It's going to be like 80. So we like spring, summer. I think it's going to go back to spring though. It's like a little meditation. Yeah, it is. It is. It's a sacred time. It's a moment for you to connect with yourself and what is true for you, and make decisions moving forward that are really intentional. So we're not just sort of drifting along doing the same things we always do, but rather opening up to new ways and new pathways. And one of the things we'll talk about today is how these little 1 degree shifts can make a massive difference in your life. I think sometimes we think changing our lives has to be some huge deal, like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to uproot everything. No, not really. You can stay like 99.9% the way you are. It's just a little, we can get out the very small screwdrivers, especially you guys, because, this is not your first self-help rodeo. You're pretty evolved. You're pretty spiritually aware. You're very emotionally aware. Your EQ is super high. Your IQ is pretty darn high. So it doesn't take much for you all to jump a track and end up in get a completely different result than you've been used to getting. So at top of the hour, I say we start breathing. Who's with me? All right, you ready? Drop your shoulders down and back. If you want to massage along your vagus nerve here, I've been doing that a lot to help with relaxation. And also I have a chronic cough from the long haul COVID. Feeling much better, thank you. So maybe massage along your vagus nerve here. It's okay if it feels a little sensitive, it's going to, but you're not likely to hurt yourself. Shake out your hands a little bit, loosen your hands, and open them up in an attitude of receiving. This session today is about receiving, right? Not squinching and making do and pinching, but rather opening wide, right? So lift up your head so that success and love can find you. Open your heart so you have lots of room to receive. Let your belly go really poochy soft. We're going to inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. We'll do that 3 times. I'll count us through it. You're welcome to ignore it if you like, but it's just breathing, which you have to do anyway, so might as well. You ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, that feels delicious. Thank you. Thank you for doing that with me. So I want to start out by telling you a little story. And the little story I want to tell you is about many years ago when I really first started to work in earnest on my money mindset and my ability to bring in larger amounts of money. I'd always, in my career as an actor, I'd always been able to like bring in like, oh, I need $50. There it is. Oh, I need $100. There it is. Like I could always, make it work, but there was never any extra and it was never very much. And but running a business, you can't really do it that way. You actually have to have systems and projections, and there's some magic involved. But I realized I was holding myself and the success of my business back because of my mindset. And so I went to an event in DC. It was one of the first of these sort of big, expensive seminar things I ever went to. I've since been to a billion of them, but it was the first time, and it was very unusual for me to like fly from California to DC, and then it was at the Ritz, so we were like paying out a lot of money to stay there. And one of the exercises I remember was that we had to go out in the afternoon and receive $100, not earn $100, not ask for $100 from charity, but have somebody give you $100, a stranger or someone, right? Like, can you feel the tension bubbling up inside you? Like, oh my God, I would die. Like, how would you do that? Just walk up to somebody on the sidewalk and go, hi, I'm sorry to trouble you. Could you give me $100? Or could you give me $10 or $1? Or $1,000 or $10,000? So it challenges all of this, like, oh, money only counts if I earn it, or money is scarce, or people aren't generous, or I can't ask for what I want for no reason, And I'll tell you, we were in groups, we were in little groups of 3 and 4, and eventually the neighborhood we were in this sort of suburban neighborhood of DC, and the town kind of shut down. Like the restaurants weren't open. There was nobody on the streets. There's kind of nobody to ask for this money that we were supposed to receive. And so we really started going deeper. And one of the women realized that she had been given a gift certificate some months ago for a massage and facial, something at a local day spa near where she lived. And she hadn't redeemed it because she felt like she didn't have the time, or I don't know, something. So she got on the phone that minute and booked the appointment. And that was her way of receiving her $100. I realized that I had paid for a friend's vet bill because they were short on the money and I didn't want the animal to not get treatment. So even though I didn't have very much either, I had enough to cover the vet bill. And I hadn't asked for the money back. And I realized, like, oh, it is so much more important to me to be perceived as like Lady Bountiful, who can easily cover everyone else's problems and never have a problem of her own, than it was for me to say, by the way, could you hit me back with that money? And if you think that didn't blow my little mind. So I did. I reached out to my friend and I'm like, so sorry to disturb, but I'm wondering if you could pay me back the money from, your animal's treatment. Of course. Let me get it to you right away. Oh, easy. If you're willing to ask for it. Easy if you're willing to claim it. Easy if you're willing to accept it. So this is one little point of inquiry for you. Where are you not willing to claim it? Where are you not willing to ask for it? Where are you so busy you're maintaining your image of the person who doesn't need anything that you don't even let people know that you want more money, need more money, could charge more money? When was the last time you raised your prices? Almost all of you could 10x your prices and should. That's right, I said 10x. Move the decimal point over. Just meditate on it. If you're not gonna, at least double it. At least double what you're charging, okay? Good. Anybody feeling challenged? How y'all doing? We're 6 minutes in. How you doing? Hi, Julie. Hi, Enjo. Great. Lori, good to see you. Sue, how's it going? Yeah, what's going on in there? Hi, Catherine. Edith, John, Leah, great to see you. How are you? Mercy, how are you? How is this all landing for you? How is this landing for you? If you don't want to share it publicly or on the Facebook page or in the Zoom, that's okay. But make a note for yourself, because this is an excellent point of inquiry for you. If you don't know, what to journal about tomorrow morning, or you want to do some 90-second art about this later today, this is going to be great, right? Veronica says 10x prices, or perhaps 10x the number of people I'm reaching out to. Oh, for sure. And Joe says, I am now sweating profusely about this. Good, good. Having a physical reaction. That's good. Veronica says the numbers still bear out. I have people all the time who are like, oh, I need more clients. I need more clients. I need more clients. I say, great. How many sales calls have you made this week? And they're like, oh, I'm like, great. So maybe get on the phone. Let's see. Lori says that I've been thinking about charging for speaking engagements about my book instead of freebies. Not sure if that will work. Well, it's certainly worth a try. You know, you can say my speaking fee is, you know, $5,000 or whatever it is. And if they say, oh, we don't have the budget for that, you can say, oh, well, what is your budget? And they say, oh, it's 1,000. You say, okay, for you, I'll do it for 1,000. Special, you know, you can always negotiate down. You can't negotiate up, right? Sue says, my head is doing the aha thing. John G says, landing is great value to what you're saying. Good, good. I have lots of gift cards I haven't redeemed. I wonder why. Exactly, exactly. Christopher says, I just spent a year helping a friend get her film distributed, have all the timesheets, but haven't invoiced her because, as you often say, I feel privileged to be working on a documentary film, so people shouldn't be paying me for it. Right. So is that true? Can you actually afford that decision? Right. I mean, it's one thing, you know, if you can actually afford to do what you're doing, then that's true generosity, right? It's overflow, like you're not noticing that you don't have that money, then that's generosity. You can do that. Be clear about it, be clear about the boundaries of it, but you can make that decision. But if you're sitting over here going like, oh, shoot, I don't have enough for this thing I need, or this thing I want, or this thing I would enjoy, because I'm not collecting from these clients, I'm not invoicing on time, I'm not charging enough, then that's not generosity. That's martyrdom. And we don't need you to be a martyr. We need you to be strong and healthy and sustained. We need you to have a sustainable life, right? Christopher says, and we're talking thousands of dollars, not hundreds. Right, right, exactly. Beth says, in my sign shop, I always raised my prices when I was super busy. I lost a few clients, but my bottom line was always impacted positively. Yeah. So here's the thing, you may have heard about the Padero principle. Is that right? It's the 80-20 rule. And it means that 20% of your clients are providing 80% of your revenue. In the same way that you wear 20% of your wardrobe 80% of the time, right? In the same way that in any organization, 20% of the people are doing 80% of the work, right? So 20% of your clients are bringing in 80% of your income. That means you could fire the bottom half of your client list and not make a dent in your income. And you would probably be getting rid of some of your more troublesome clients. So Claire says, before I even ask, I need to know I deserve it. Pareto, thank you. Padero is a street in Carpinteria. I knew there was a disconnect there. Pareto principle, right? Yeah, so Claire brings up an interesting point, right? Oh, it only counts if I deserve it, if I feel like I deserve it. And then what means you deserve it? Like, is it hard? You know, I often hear people say like, well, I don't feel right charging for it because it's so easy for me. Or it's a God-given talent, like my channeling or my painting or my art. Dude, charge 1,000,000 times more for things that are your God-given talent. Are you kidding? That means you're doing it better and faster than anybody else could, and with more depth and finesse. And like, deserve has nothing to do with it. You're not charging what you are worth. You are charging what your work is worth to them. I'm going to go into this a lot more later, but Julie says, they don't all work this way, but I put off using a $50 card at a shopping center because it was during COVID and I wasn't going to stores. I just tried to use it and discovered they'd been taking $250 a month beginning a year after it was purchased, and so it was down to $0. I emailed in protest and they didn't care. So just look at the small print just in case and then use them. Yes. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So at this same event in DC, a person who has now 10 years later is still one of my closest friends, she got up and said, she was having sort of an epiphany in the middle of this workshop, and she said, I just realized that my family told me my whole life that I was too big, that I wanted too much, that I was too demanding, I was too needy, I wanted too much. And my response was, oh, really? Watch me. I can survive on crumbs. I heard her say that, and it was like the world tilted off its axis. I was like, holy shit, that's what I did. I was afraid I was too much, that if I was too demanding, everyone would leave me. So I learned to survive on crumbs. And not only that, I made surviving on crumbs a virtue. And I made it essential to my life, to my well-being. Like I wasn't going to survive unless I could only survive on crumbs. I wasn't allowed to ask for more. I wasn't even allowed to think about more. And I know this is hitting home for some of you. At that same event, I enrolled in a 20, probably almost, by the time the travel and everything, was probably almost a $30,000 program for the year, which I did not have. I did not have that money. I didn't have a plan to make the money. But I knew I needed to be in it. I knew I needed to change what I was doing. I knew I needed to be in a room with other people who were up to some big shit. And it did. It really changed. I mean, I 10x'd my business almost right away. I certainly doubled it right away. And then by the end of the year, I had 10x'd it. And again, the people I met in that room are still some of my closest friends and colleagues and trusted advisors and all kinds of things. So make a little list for yourself right now, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things that where you are settling for crumbs, where you are afraid you are too much, that if you ask for more, you'll get turned down completely. Is it in the world of compliments? Is it in the world of your health and well-being? Is it around food? Is it around your family? Is it around work? Is it around getting testimonials and referrals? Right? Where are you surviving on crumbs? Right? Beth says, I honor abundance with gratitude when spending and receiving. Yes. But she also says, but that whole don't want things is pernicious. Indeed. Excellent use of the word pernicious. Julie says, gut punched. I have a relative who was proud of surviving on crumbs. Now it all makes sense. Raised by a mother that hated rich people, right? What did rich people ever do to you? How many women have been told at some point that we were too demanding and how it immediately made us pull back? Exactly. So notice your resistance, notice your resentments, right? Notice any excuses. Well, I can't. I mean, that would be, they can't, really. My clients wouldn't pay that much. You don't know that. I guarantee you don't know that because you never tried to charge them that much. Right? Don't make decisions about other people's money for them. Don't make decisions about other people's money for them. It's none of your business what they can afford or not afford. And if that program, that $30,000 program that I enrolled in DC that time had said, well, Sam, we're looking at your bank account and we don't see that you actually have these funds, they would have been colluding with me in this world of there's not enough. And they would have excluded me from some information that I really desperately needed. Instead, they held the space on the other side that said, oh, we know you can generate this money. We know you can bring it in, no problem. We're here with you. We believe in your vision. We believe in you. Let's do this thing. Thank God they didn't make that program any smaller or any less expensive. I needed to have this shit scared out of me. And I needed to prove to myself that I could do it. Right? So I want you to notice, what false economies are you engaging in? Right? What false economies? Not paying other people to work for you, right? Like, oh, I can't afford help. I can't afford, really? Why are you doing the $15 an hour jobs when you could be charging $500 an hour for the work you actually do? Right? Oh, My latest false economy thing has to do, I'm more with time and brain space than money. Like I'm sitting here going, because I used to do this all the time when I was a coupon clipper, which I could do a lot with coupons. And I was like, okay, is it better to buy the 6 cans at the 36 cents or the 4 cans that are 2 for it? Like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And now I'm like, if I have to run around the block about it 3 times, I'm like, forget it. I'm not making this decision right now. Or I just make a decision and go for it. I'm like, it doesn't matter, Sam, just buy the beans. Right. But this like, oh no, there's a perfect way and I got to find it. How dare I spend an extra $1 on beans? So what other false economies? For me, flying first class is not an indulgence, it's a necessity. Because when I'm flying for work, like if I fly economy, and that's all that time standing in line, and y'all know I've got a couple of long-term chronic illnesses, I can't really do it. And then I arrive where I'm going and I'm a basket case for 3 days. If I fly first class, I get to hang out in the first class lounge. I get to board first. I get to sit. They give me more water, occasionally a cocktail. I get more food. I have more space. I can breathe. And then even if I'm flying all the way across the country, which I've done, almost once every 8 weeks since I moved to Connecticut, I can get up and work the next day. Right. And I'll tell you what else happened just on this last trip to California. I'm on the 6:15 a.m. Hartford to Dallas, Dallas to Santa Barbara. And I sit down in seat 1A and this dude sits down in seat 1B. Hi. Now I'm not an airline talker. I'm reading or sleeping. I'm not talking. But he was a talker. So he's like, hi, what do you do? What do you do? Oh, I write books. Oh, really? What books? I tell him my books. And he goes, stop it. You did not just say that to me. And I'm like, yes, I did. He's like, really? This productivity, creativity, this is what you do? And he's looking at my LinkedIn profile and he's like, how to stop wasting time in meetings, how to write emails people want to read, time management for busy people. He's like, you do this, you teach this, you could come into my office, you could do this. And I'm like, yes, I could. I said, why? Did God put me in this seat just for you? And he's like, the fact that you would even say that. He was the sweetest guy. It turns out he was director of sales for a manufacturing company that's like half an hour from my house. And, we weren't 20 minutes into the flight before I had easily made back the cost of the ticket and way more. I think he's going to hire me for quite a lot of things. We're still negotiating, so I'll let you know. But that guy wasn't flying in economy. I wouldn't have made that contact or made that connection if I wasn't in first class. Right? False economy. Okay, let me go check back some of these. Christopher says, I process improved my sister's business, increasing her business bottom line by 304%. Did screw up my courage to ask her for a reference on LinkedIn, which she hasn't done. And the idea of reminding her or following up is killing me. Oh, Christopher. Yeah. So you've written it here for her. Just say like, hey, Christopher improved my business processes to the point where my revenue improved by 304%. He's a hell of a guy. Say, hey, would you post this? Right. And maybe do a little inquiry of like, what are you getting out of not doing it? Right? If I ask, that means I'm grabby, it means I'm demanding, it means I'm pushy, it means I'm what? What are you not willing to be with? And I happen to know Christopher, he's come to an event or 2 of mine. The last word anybody on the entire planet would use for you is pushy. So you could afford to be 10% pushier. You could afford to be 100% pushier, but start with 10. Beth says, my sticky point is when friends are clients. I'm trying to remember your advice at these times. Money is used as an exchange of energy. That's right. So the price of the work is the price of the work. It doesn't matter if you're a friend or not, right? I charge friends the same as I charge anybody else because the value of the work is the same. If you do have an inclination to offer a friends and family discount, great, make it like 10% off. Because you're a friend, I'm offering you 10% off. Fine, done deal. If somebody wants to barter with you, I am not a fan. I love the concept. Oh my God, I wish the concept worked. But in my experience, somebody always feels like they're getting the short end of the stick. So if you want to barter with someone, then just write each other a check for $1,000 or $500 or whatever it is, right? Just write each, it's better for your taxes. It's better for business. It's just cleaner, right? But yeah, if you go to the, if the dentist is your friend, they're not going to knock off the price of the exam. No, the price of the work is the price of the work. Julie says, I'm having trouble accepting that my mortgage in North Carolina is way less than my rent was in California. I think it's keeping me from really loving living here. That's hard to describe. Huh. Well, that seems like it's worth some inquiry. Yeah. Yeah, my mortgage here is in Connecticut's a lot cheaper than the rent I was paying in California too. And it makes me love it here more, but but clearly it's having a different effect on you. So yeah, I would look into that a little bit, Julie. What's going on there? Beth says, I'm flying first class in July. Yay! It's so worth it. John Jew 360 says, my wife has a fixed mindset on money, credit cards. My wife, who has a fixed mindset on credit cards are way up and thinks small and has to control our money because I screwed up 15 years ago. The crumbs are leaving, ready to feast. Yeah, so it sounds like it might be time to renegotiate that a little bit. Say like, hey, honey, I know I screwed up 15 years ago, but I'd like to sit down with you with this and maybe take a course, maybe do it together. Maybe do it as your get it done lab project together. Like spend 90 days really getting in there with your finances and seeing what makes sense. Right? Because you need to be part of that conversation, especially if you're going to change, if you got want things to change, you got to change the pattern. And if the pattern is she holds it really tight, that's going to continue to get you the results that you have right now. So, and again, I'll remind you of my favorite phrase, Christopher, this might work for you too, Beth, for working with friends, Claire, trying to establish the value of your work. This sentence of, hi, is now a good time for us to have a conversation that makes me kind of uncomfortable to have? Hi, is now a good time for us to talk about something I wish we didn't have to talk about? Hi, is now a good time for us to discuss something that has been previously undiscussable? Try that. It builds an amazing bridge, frames up what's happening, right? Julie says, Ray, the time and energy thing. How dare I take the time to get a new phone, get the dented fender fixed, buy a bra that fits? Right. See, these are all false economies. Wearing a bra that doesn't fit. That's going to make you uncomfortable all day. Right? Spend the $60, spend the $150, spend the $400. When I was in London last time, I got bras where the Queen got her bras. I was like, if it's good enough for the Queen, it's good enough. It's good enough for the Queen's boobs. It's good enough for my boobs. And I spent more than I perhaps would have. But they're my Queen. It's my Queen bras. I love them. And instead of feeling all day like, oh, this crappy old bra that's sticking into my side, I feel like my boobs are uplifted. They are royal boobs, right? So yeah, the dented fender, the not fixing the thing, the old computer that takes forever to boot up, that's losing things, that's a false economy. Lori said, I sold a book to a woman I had just met whose sister-in-law needs it, sitting next to her on the airline lounge yesterday. Well done. Beth says, royal boobs. Da, 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 da. You may also be having a values conflict, right? So we're looking at false economies, we're looking at values conflicts, right? Christopher says, I want to be a generous person. I want to be a good brother. I don't want to be somebody who has to hassle and harass people. Well, guess what? You also want to get paid. You also want to get recognition. And remember, you got my thing about, you're always getting paid in the currency you're asking for. You're always getting paid in the currency you're asking for. So is the currency you're asking for neglect? I did that for years. It was really important for me to work really hard and kind of not have anybody notice. That matched my crumbs mentality. And then I got to feel very exhausted and very underappreciated, and that matched my incredibly low self-esteem. Exhausting. Right? So maybe you've got a values conflict that, you learn something that says, yeah, that rich people are evil, or it only counts if I work really hard, or, who am I to think I'm so special, that I get to fly first class and I get to, spend this money on this thing when there are starving children just down the block from me, right? I also have a version of this that says, if I don't want much, then I won't be disappointed. If I don't want much, then I won't be disappointed, which strangely doesn't work. It turns out there isn't really a way to prevent disappointment. So if you want something, go ahead and want it. If you want something, go ahead and ask for it. Why pre-disappoint yourself by not even asking? Right? What's the old phrase? Don't fire yourself from a job they haven't offered you. Go for the bigger paycheck. Go for the bigger job. Ask for the endorsement. Ask for the referral. Ask to speak to the manager. Ask to be bumped up to first class. Beth says, "Ooh, yes, I've been using your Inez Now a Good Time tip." I'm telling you, it's a miracle. Claire says, "My mother didn't let me know the value of the money I inherited. We were always told to save. When I started spending some of it, it changed my life." Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Money, I mean, again, money is just an energetic, it's a symbol of an energetic exchange, right? And as the adage goes, right? Health is flow. Health is flow. We want breath to flow in and out of our lives. We want nutrition and energy to flow. We want money to flow. We don't want to have it so we can keep it and hoard it and pinch it and squeeze it. Money's our friend. Money's just there for you, right? So let's think about joyful economies, right? Finding a $500 pair of shoes on sale for $50, that is a joyful economy. We love that, right? What yummy excesses can you have? I have all the pens and all the red lipsticks. That was my 50th birthday, my present to myself 6 years ago. I was like, Samantha, you are 50 years old. You are allowed to have all the pens. So anytime I see pens I want, I buy them. It means I am constantly turning around to my friend who teaches high school and giving her these shoe boxes filled with pens and markers. She's like, you realize you just gave me a box of these a couple months ago? I'm like, I know, but I have a lot of them. It gives me great pleasure to buy them and great pleasure to give them away. And then where's doing the DIY that's delightful? Like, I'm not saying don't shop for bargains. I'm not saying don't make it yourself if that gives you joy, making your own clothes, thrift shopping. Although thrift shopping is not what it used to be, I'll tell you. If those things bring you joy, then great. But don't do them out of that poverty consciousness. Don't do that out of that scarcity. There's not enough. I have to slave and pinch and work, right? Good. Yeah, Roz says that's me. Yeah, if I don't want much, I won't be disappointed. Yeah. This doesn't work. I mean, it'd be great. If that system worked, I would say do that, but it doesn't work. Sue says, I'm going tomorrow to share my most recent painting with a guy who needs some help and knows it a bit scary and potentially huge. Right, so just keep breathing and keep asking a lot of questions. You don't have to be smart. You just have to be curious. And if you don't know the number of what you're going to charge, say that. Say like, I'm not sure how much this is going to cost yet. I'm going to need to talk to you and find out more about what you need. And then I'll go home and make a proposal. Okay. And just as suddenly realizing how many times I've said, oh, I don't want to be rich. I just want to have enough. No, be rich. Why not? Veronica says, I just wrote a poem about that. I won't settle in the rubble when I know there is softness somewhere. There must be softness. Oh, yes, there is softness. There is. Hi, Catherine. Catherine came to Belize last time. Hey, Catherine, want to come to Greece? We're going to Crete in October. Let's talk about it. Okay. Catherine says, fantastic to see you, Sam. I grew up with bad equaling more and good equaling less, and later found spiritual beliefs to support that. Well, your brain's going to find what it's looking for. We're very good at that, right? We're very good at that. Julie says, light bulb, working decades in deadline-oriented careers makes me always think I don't have enough time. Thank you, Sam, for leading me to that epiphany. Yeah, there's plenty of time. Catherine says, money is there for me. Yes, yes, yes. Sangeeta says, also time is money, and I've been definitely living on crumbs. With a full-time job and being a mom of a small one and caregiver for my mom, I'm always struggling to find time for myself and prioritize myself, despite having a great and supportive husband. After today, I pledge to ask for more me time and enrich my soul. Yes, that's beautiful, Sangeeta. I love that. Beth says, I'm a pen addict too. Woot woot. No shame, no shame. Yes, there is softness. Beautiful. There's definitely softness. Yeah. So speaking of funds, we're starting a new Get It Done lab soon. At the end of the month, we're going to do a free 3-day challenge called How to Find an Extra Hour in Your Day, every single day. Then there'll be a bonus training called Your Weird Thing Can Make You 2K by Independence Day. And why is it 2K? Because Get It Done Lab this time is $2,000. A little less than that, but basically $2,000. More if you do the add-on training. So those of you who are alumni will get a special offer to come back in at a lower price. But if you're wanting to come in for the first time, start putting your pennies aside, because we want you in this training, and I want you to feel great about investing the 2K in the training, and feel great about knowing that you are going to get 3 to 10 times value from that. You are going to receive somewhere between $6,000 and $20,000 worth of inspiration, information, strategies, systems, techniques, ways in which you can be more abundant in your life and become your own economy. Be your own economy, so you're not reliant on what's going on out there. Okay. This is the bottom of the hour, so bottom of the half hour. So let's go ahead and do one more breath. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your honesty and your openness and your willingness to have these ahas. Stay in the discomfort. Make some 90-second art about it, 90-second process. See how you see where it leads you, right? Veronica says this one's gonna be so fun. I'm excited for all the changes we're making. Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm excited too. All right. Thanks, everybody. Great to see you. Let's inhale. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for doing this with me. Bye.